slide release is ambidextrous on both sides. The safety is ambidextrous on both sides.
The Nintendo Zapper Ruger LCP. My Wolverine LCP2.
This is a variant of the gun that John Wick used in John Wick 1. He used a P30L, so it's a little bit longer.
But you can see the 38 Special along the top. And it looks like it did almost as much damage as the 38 Special, even though the bullet's only about half the size.
Shoot her! Yes! For science.
Oh! Hey folks, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. We're back out on the shooting range today with Ryan, and Ryan brought us quite a treat. I am a huge fan of this gun because it's featured in several different Indiana Jones movies, and I believe actually Sallah carries this gun in Indiana Jones: The Last Crusade. So this is a Luger P08, and Ryan's here to tell us all about it.
Jawohl! So this gun was made famous essentially by the Germans. It's a German gun from World War II. I can't quite remember if it was around in World War I. I'd have to fact check that. Part of me thinks it was developed around that time. This gun was actually so popular that the United States considered it in its military trials prior to adopting the Colt 1911. Except that this was chambered in .45 ACP. So there are just a few of them out there. There's actually a guy now who his entire business, for the most part, is that he builds custom .45 ACP Lugers. He's called Luger Man.
Huh.
They are exceptionally expensive because they're bespoke guns, essentially. He's a very small operation. I think it's like $4,000 to get one of these. But it is a very unique thing.
Does that guy live in Klamath Falls?
I don't know. I don't
We
think so.
went to a gun show down there, and there was a guy that had nothing but those guns. And the wall was just covered with them.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
Which I will tell you, that means he has a pretty expensive collection there. So these were, the original P08 was produced in mass for the Germans during World War II. That being said, they also had the Walther and I think a couple other handguns. And the problem with the Luger is that it's very complex. There's a lot of little moving parts, so it's expensive to manufacture, it's complicated to manufacture. It is a good gun, but it doesn't have reciprocating slide like a...
What?
Yeah, it doesn't have reciprocating slide like a standard firearm as we know it today, semi-automatic. It has this trap door system, this toggle, that pops the bullet straight out the top and then slides the next one in. So this is where all your spring tension is. All these parts stay put.
Weird.
Yeah, well this was
really weird.
So in the history of guns, it's very interesting to look at different guns because you can see the development going on and how we're figuring out how to do the things that we take for granted now.
Mm-hmm.
So a magazine-fed semi-automatic handgun, if you look back at World War I, World War II, there are some wild designs. And that's because they're trying to figure it out. But they ended up realizing that having something a little more standard, like the other guns we've shot today... where did I hide it? So this is your classic modern firearm, right? The entire upper slide reciprocates, the barrel stays still, the guide rod stays still, but as the slide reciprocates, it extracts the shell, pushes in the next one. This one has this complicated mechanism which extracts, pops it out the top, pushes it back down, and if you look closely, you can see the entire upper barrel moves. Just the littlest bit to eject the shell, right? So that being said, they were very popular in the 1940s, and they have been highly collectible since then. At various times, companies have wondered, and you viewers at home might be wondering, well, why don't they make a reproduction of this today? It's because it's expensive still. It requires a lot of specialized machinery. It's tough to get it right. And honestly, there's just not a huge market for it because most of the people who want to buy a Luger P08 want to buy a World War II artifact. They don't want to buy a plinker. Mm-hmm. Most of the plinker Luger P08s were purchased Cold War era and after because, I mean, the Germans had to make money somehow after being absolutely economically devastated by the war. So a lot of their guns went out. You know, Americans brought them back as trophies from war. This was the officer's handgun. My P08 is kind of special because this is an American P08.
Huh.
For a very short time, about 10 years, in the 90s, there was a company called Aimco in Texas that, over in Houston, Texas, they wondered if there would be a market for a Luger P08 in the American market today. So Mitchell Arms is the name, American Eagle Luger, you can always tell because it has an eagle on top, right? And this is stainless, normally they're blued. So this is a reproduction from the 1990s, and I believe it's the last company that's made a reproduction in the modern era that shoots 9mm. I actually tracked this down on Gunbroker. The reason why I got this gun, I'd wanted to get a Luger for a little while, but as I've mentioned in previous videos, my father passed away in December, and we sort of had a standing tradition where he'd get me a gun every Christmas. And since my dad passed away before Christmas, I decided that this would be my last from my dad gun gift. So this is what I wanted under the Christmas tree. I had to wait forever to get it. Thank you, Measure 114 and Oregon. But I did finally get it, and it's just a neat piece of history. I would have bought one from World War II, but I didn't want an artifact. I wanted something I could shoot. And those guns from, part of the problem with the Luger in World War II also, because this moving mass, this reciprocating mass, if you take this whole thing apart and you just have the barrel in your hand, if you want to test to see if you have a Luger that's still sound, you can tap it on the end of a table and it will resonate almost like a tuning fork.
Huh.
So if you tap it and it doesn't resonate, that means there's probably a crack forming, and often there would be cracks and it would ruin the gun. So you don't want to buy a P08 and then go shoot it and have it break.
Right.
Furthermore, the P08 was originally chambered in .30. So you had to get .30 caliber in order to run it through this, or 9mm Luger. And also, fun fact, the 9mm Luger, which we take for granted today, was developed specifically for this firearm.
How about that?
That's why it's called the 9mm Luger, because they wanted something a little more robust than the .30.
I would imagine that if you do get a relic that fires, trying to find a .30 would be pretty difficult.
You're not going to find it at a sporting goods store. You can get it online, but again, then you're going to go, do I really want to shoot this? Because I might break it. Even if you look at guys like Demolition Ranch, he has a P08 from World War II. He only brings it out once in a long while and maybe puts one magazine through it. Because it'll break. It's brittle. It's old.
Can you tell me about the takedown on this gun?
Yeah.
Is it pretty hard to do, or?
Well, let's just say I've been very experienced with guns for a while, and this took me a while to figure out how to do. Looked at some videos online, but essentially, I'm not going to do it here because we're outside, and again, it could get dirty, and it would be a pain. I might be stuck here for a little while trying to finagle it back together.
Yeah, we don't want that. I was just curious.
You push this lever down, this panel comes off. This whole panel right here comes off, which exposes a pin for this toggle where all the spring tension is. You remove that pin, the toggle lifts out.
So this whole section right here
this
comes
toggle
out.
lifts out. You get the barrel off the front, and then you can actually remove a pin here as well. Because again, this, let me rephrase that. This plate, when it comes out, allows the barrel to move forward. The pin is actually right here. It's hidden behind here, but you can see it when I pull it back. That's the big pin that has to come out to release the trap door. And then you polish it all up, assemble it in reverse order. It took me, the first time I did it, and this might just be because I'm incompetent, but the first time I think took me like 40 minutes.
40 minutes
to put it back together, because I kept sliding pieces in place and it wasn't quite right. The other thing I found, this gun is not finicky with ammo, but when I first got it, I thought it was. Because when I bought it on Gunbroker used. It came with 4 magazines, and it jammed on like every other shot. And I was kind of heartbroken because I was like, I was really looking forward to this. This is my last dad gun. I wanted a Luger for a while. And then I decided to take a risk, and I went and I bought a different magazine on eBay, son of a gun if it doesn't run like a dream now. And so then I went back on eBay, and I found 2 more. Anyone who wants to get a Luger, just know you're going to be paying a little more. These are more expensive than Glock mag. This is not PMag price. I think they're like 30 each.
Okay, well, that's
Something
still
like that.
cheaper than an HK mag.
Yeah, but I mean, when you get into that German engineering, and then you have to find them, and I found these on eBay.
Right.
There might be one company.
Because they don't make new ones anymore, right?
Irma might for reproductions, but that's about it. So, and then you have to get one that works. So
Right.
it can be a bit of a hassle. But once you get it running, it's a neat piece of history, and it's kind of funky to see the top of it.
So it looks like this is a fairly fat gun, just based on the way you're gripping it.
Well,
but it's a single stack.
Well, it's a single stack, but the Germans also intended, you got to remember, World War II, we're still figuring out modern firearms. They did not expect anyone to shoot two-handed. It was always one-handed. So this actually gives you enough surface area to get behind. But a German would, if any of you have ever seen a certain Quentin Tarantino film from World War II, you'll notice that the Nazi officer at the beginning of the film, when he goes to aim the gun at Shoshana as she's running away, he extends it like this. This is the German way to shoot a Luger. Trying to shoot it like this is not historically correct.
How about that?
They always thought one hand. And I will say with the 30 Lugers, I do think the handle was a little bit slimmer. And P08s have been produced all throughout Europe. They were a very popular gun. The Swiss made them. You can still get some old Swiss surplus, but those are about $2,000 each. So
How much was that one?
this one, I got a good deal. I got it for about $1,200.
Wow.
But again, if it hadn't been the occasion of my father's passing, I probably would have thought twice about it. But,
It's also got this interesting circular section here where the mag goes in.
yep, and that is true to the old style. Although this is a plastic, the original ones always had a wood bottom, a wood knob at the bottom, and that was to help if it jammed,
To yank it out.
to be able to yank it out.
Interesting.
So, anyway, let's go ahead and run some rounds through it.
There's some cool history in this gun.
Yeah, a lot of history. When you think about the 1911 and how it was the gun of 2 world wars for Americans, this is the German version. This is their 1911. This is their Makarov. This is their Astra, right?
How many rounds does it hold?
Traditionally, I believe it was 7. This one, I have a magazine that I believe holds 8.
Okay, so very similar to the 1911 in that regard.
Well, again, double stack magazines didn't exist yet for pistols.
Right.
All right. I loaded one too many. That's how we know. Hey-ya! Okay. Gotta figure out where I'm hitting. That's all she wrote.
Oh, yeah. This,
It's only
the
like
slide
7
can't lock
shots.
back because there is no slide.
No. Let's try that again. I need to stop loading one extra bullet in. I did it twice. So to answer your question, 7 rounds. There we go.
Very interesting.
Yeah! It's a fun little gun. And 1, 2, 3. We're just gonna...
It's weird to like not have it locked back or anything. It
Yeah.
just feels like something should lock back on it, you know?
Yeah. So, one of the things I've learned about these, one of the other reasons why they weren't as, they didn't stand the test of time, so to speak, the feed angle on these magazines is pretty tight. If you don't get it just right, it'll jam every shot. So, the magazine manufacturer had to be really on top of it. Here you go, Wes, want to give it a shot?
I do.
Make Sallah proud.
Oh, wow. It's actually, it feels thinner than I was expecting. With how fat the top is up here,
Yeah.
the grip is pretty slim.
Yeah.
The stippling here is very grippy. It almost feels like a skateboard material or something.
Those are actually wood grips, not fake.
Yeah,
Yeah.
pretty cool.
So you got to pull the toggle straight back. all the way. You got to mean it.
Okay, I think it loaded.
All right. We'll see.
Boy, these sights are weird. The back sight.
It's so small compared to the giant front, right?
The back sight almost looks like the original version of the LCP.
Or
really tiny.
Or the LCP is the original on this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The good news is you've got a nice high front sight. So even though the back sight is pretty small, you should theoretically still be able to line it up pretty cool. This eagle thing is really cool right there.
Yeah, that's how you know, that's why they call it an American Eagle Luger. That tells you it was either imported or produced in the United States.
And the safety is right here?
Mm-hmm.
But it's only on one side. Okay.
Yeah. Well, and you might correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the original Lugers didn't have a safety.
Okay. I could be wrong on that too. I don't know.
I don't recall.
Okay, let's see what this thing can do. It's weird because there's like no weight in the front of the gun. Oh, I guess I didn't pull it back far enough.
There you go. That should do it. I heard there's 2 clicks. I heard the second click. Yeah.
Boy, the recoil is crazy because there's no weight in the front of the gun.
There's no weight.
It feels really nice in your hand because there's no weight there. It's like, oh yeah, it kind of feels like a well-balanced sword or something. And then you fire it, it's like, whoa!
Yeah. And the trigger is super light. There's no wall. It just goes. Yeah.
Oh, I think I'm out.
Yep.
Yeah, with the silver target or the silver sight on silver targets, it's kind of hard to see once you get the target lined up.
Now, there's one thing I want to see real quick, if I remember, and I haven't shot this in a little while because I've been short on 9mm ammo, but yeah. So on an empty mag, if you draw the toggle back, it'll lock.
Interesting.
But if you're shooting, it won't. And the reason for that is, just like how and this is not a historical thing, it's just something I learned. It might just be my Luger, it might be all Lugers. But I've learned that this has, similar to how the old Colt revolvers had 4 clicks, this one has 2. Mm-hmm. The first click is there, the second click is in the back. That second click is what pulls the front of the slide forward. If you don't get that click, the bullet doesn't catch.
Yeah, I noticed that the second time I pulled it, that there was an extra click there.
You got to mean it, and that second click is what hits the magazine and tells it to stop. And then it'll freeze until you release it. The other crazy thing about this that I couldn't believe when I got it, there's no wall on this trigger.
Yeah.
There's no wall. It's just you're squeezing, and then it goes off.
Yeah, I actually put one off while I was just trying to adjust to the next target.
Like the first time I put it out, I went, okay, bang! And I was like, whoa, whoa, whoa.
Yeah, I think the pull on that trigger is probably like maybe 1 pound.
Yeah.
It's it's the lightest pull I've ever seen by far.
It might be the lightest pull in my collection or second. Yeah. So this is a Luger P08, American Eagle, Mitchell Arms, Target. I think it was Aimco, Target Co. Back in Texas is the parent company that made it. This is a great little pistol. It's a nice little piece of history in that it's a reproduction, but reproductions are rarer than the original now. They're not normally stainless steel like this. They're normally blued black steel. So this is just kind of a unique piece that I like having in my collection.
Yeah. My pluses and minuses for that gun, it feels great in your hand.
Yeah.
With all the weight in the back, it just feels awesome when you put the gun out in front of you. And of course, the drawback to that is because there's no weight in the front, it kicks like a frickin' mule when you fire it. Like the barrel just kind of goes all over the place.
It moves, but it doesn't hurt.
Yeah, it doesn't hurt at all, but it feels like you've got no control over where the barrel's going once you pull that trigger.
We got to shoot it like a German at least once. Watch me miss. Oh man, trying to find that front bead in the shade.
Yeah.
is hard.
With the silver targets out there. Yeah.
Trying to find that front bead is hard, but yeah, I love this little thing. It's a lot of fun. This is one of the more unique guns that I own. Movie buffs, basically anything World War II, you've seen this. I believe this is also the weapon of choice of James Bond in From Russia with Love, but with a much longer barrel, if I remember right.
A longer barrel would make sense. It would make it more accurate and a little bit more weight in the front.
Yeah, but harder to conceal if you're a spy. Anyway,
Yes,
we've
that
gone too
too.
long. But
I mean, you're probably
this
not
is
going to find anything that beats the, you know, what, the PPQ? Is that what
the PPK.
PPK, yeah.
Well, his original gun in the book sucked. So in the books, if you've ever read the James Bond books, he originally carried, it was like a 25 ACP or some, I mean, really little bullet and tiny little gun that you couldn't aim outside of about 5 yards. And then he upgraded to a Beretta, tiny gun that shot a tiny, like, it was one of those, okay, you're a spy, so we'd be able to shoot, like, from here to that stump, and that's about it. I could get a guy under a card table, but they'd have him, like, sniping people out of crow's nests and stuff, and I was just like, nope. I'm sorry, Ian Fleming. I enjoy this book, but nope. No, he cannot. Anyway.
Shannon's got a little Derringer, a double-barreled Derringer, and we took that out one time, and we could not hit a pop can at, like, 3 feet with it.
Yep.
But
sounds about right.
If we can dig up that gun, I really want to get that one on the channel, but I'm not sure we still have it or not. If we can find it, I want to take it out and shoot it.
We have shot Derringers here, and similar to black powder rifles, it's not a matter of being good. It's a matter of being good enough to get close enough to get lucky enough to hit the target. So I've hit that far gong with a Derringer more than once. Just don't ask me how many shots it took.
Yeah.
So anyway. That's my Luger.
Yeah, cool gun. Thanks for watching, folks, and have a great day.